So, Hive has just launched its fifth global headquarters in India, Mumbai, India. I know it's been a few days since they dropped the news, but I decided to cover it anyway with details using multiple sources, okay, and connecting different dots. And so, in this video, we're going to talk about Hive's multi-home, multi-genre strategy, how it fits into Bang Si-hyuk's vision for the future of music, and whether India could be the next market that changes the global balance of power in the industry. And with the questions, why India and why now? All right, so let's start with the official PR material announcement that they dropped on September 23rd, titled HYBE India launch. Bang Si-hyuk's multi-home, multi-genre strategy targets 1.4 billion market. All right. HYBE has officially established a local subsidiary in India under the name HYBE India. This marks the fifth overseas headquarters after HYBE Japan, HYBE America, HYBE Latin America, and HYBE China, which they set up 5 months ago, HYBE China. According to HYBE, HYBE India Entertainment Private Limited, so that's the official title at the headquarters, was incorporated this month in Mumbai. Now, Mumbai is known as the heart of Bollywood, contemporary art, and diverse performing arts, and has become a strategic hub for global music and entertainment companies. The mission of HYBE India, check this out, is 인도의 목소리가 세계의 서사가 될 때까지, where voices of India become global stories. Interesting. And it reflects HYBE's ambition to discover and nurture talented artists in India and connect them to the world while staying rooted in local culture and sensibilities. To achieve this, HYBE India will hold local auditions, build a training system optimized for Indian artists, and actively support HYBE Music Group artists' activities in the Indian market. Now, here are some statistics. India, with a population of 1.46 billion, which is the world's largest, is also a massive music market. According to the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry, FICCI, India has 185 million streaming users, making it the second largest streaming market in the world after the United States. Oh wow, that's pretty huge. Now, for those of you who are either watching this video from India, or you know the country well, or you have lived there, or you just have a lot of interest in the region, let me know if you have some extra information to add by writing comments in the comment section, or if any of these information or statistics mentioned in these articles are incorrect. Okay, feel free to correct or add. Now, where are we? All right, here. So India is huge. K-pop's popularity is also rising rapidly. A study by the Korea Foundation for International Cultural Exchange showed that K-pop streaming in India surged 362% between 2018 and 2023. Wow, that's pretty huge. And this growth has been driven by increased internet and smartphone penetration, as well as improved accessibility to streaming services. That's pretty cool. The establishment of HYBE India is part of the company's multi-home, multi-genre strategy, tailoring business development to the culture and characteristics of each region to become a market leader. Spearheaded by Chairman Bang Si-hyuk, aka Hitman Bang, the strategy focuses on applying the K-pop production system locally to discover and cultivate top-tier artists worldwide. Building on HYBE's 360-degree capabilities, from artist scouting and training to album production, management, marketing, and concert planning, HYBE India is set to introduce artists who will bridge the Indian and global music markets. So that was HYBE's official announcement, and it paints a clear and ambitious picture. Now, industry reporting from The Bell, which is a Korean media agency with expertise in capital markets, they add some important context behind the launch of HYBE India. So check this out. According to the outlet, Hive India Entertainment Private Limited was formally incorporated in Mumbai on September 9th. Okay, so that was a specific date, with an initial capital of 870 million rupees, which is 870 million rupees to USD. 10만, 100만. So around 10 million USD, okay? And around 13.7 billion Korean won. And at this stage, however, the subsidiary is still in its infancy, of course, because it was just established. So no managing director or organizational structure has been finalized yet, and the company is currently in the process of recruiting staff, according to the Bell. Now, early operations are expected to focus on market research and forging local partnerships rather than full-scale production. And the Bell also frames this move as a completion of Hive's global headquarters roadmap envisioned under the Hive 2.0 strategy that was launched last year. So since 2019, Hive has steadily rolled out regional headquarters, right? Starting with the US, then Japan in 2021, Latin America in 2023, and then China in April 2025. And now India as a fifth and final piece, according to the Bell. And seen this way, the Indian launch is less an isolated expansion and more the symbolic capstone, so to say, of Bang Si-hyuk's multi-home, multi-genre vision. Although we'll see whether there will be a sixth and seventh in the future. But for now, this was the last one, as far as what we know of. And this perspective highlights that HYBE India is not just a sorry about that. It's not just a mission statement, but also a significant financial and organizational commitment, one that could take time to mature before bearing fruit. Now, sorry about that. Sip of water could help. Now, if Hive's official PR gave us the broad mission and the Bell revealed the early stage business reality, international media agency, Music Business Worldwide, it brings in a global industry lens. So situating HYBE India not just within India's market, but also within Hive's broader competition with the quote-unquote big three of the global music industry. Okay? So, first of all, they highlighted this part. The company's expansion into India comes as Bang Si-hyuk predicted that the strategy of securing a foothold in the world's major music markets and applying this methodology is producing results. And if the current trend continues, the landscape of the global music market dominated by the big three global companies will change significantly, according to a statement cited by Mail Business newspaper, 매일경제, and this is the quote that they used. Have stated, Chairman Bang has long maintained that the K-pop should not remain just a musical genre within pop, but should evolve into a methodology in itself, one that identifies public taste with precision and uses that to create super IPs built on a super fan engagement. By securing footholds in major global music markets and applying this methodology, we are already seeing results. If the current trend continues, the landscape of the global music industry, which has long been dominated by the big three, will change significantly, according to a HYBE spokesperson. Now, the MBW, the Music Business Worldwide, this piece also emphasizes that HYBE India is the fifth global HQ, again, following closely on the heels of the China subsidiary launched just 5 months earlier. When was it? April of 2005. So they are highlighting the speed of this rollout, and it signals urgency, according to their perspective, that HYBE isn't spacing out expansions, but moving aggressively to lock down presence in key territories. Now, speaking of China, I checked their open job positions on HYBE's official website, and they currently have 2 positions open where they're looking for hiring personnel. One for business PM, project management for China, and also Chinese business operational support position. So I might briefly touch upon this at the end of this video. Now, the MBW piece also highlights a key stat from the IFPI. That is, while India is the second largest streaming market by users, it currently ranks only 15th in the world by recorded music revenues. And that gap really underscores HYBE's bet that if it can bridge high user numbers with monetization, India could become one of the most lucrative growth markets globally. And the article ties the India launch back to Bang Si-hyuk's vision to export K-pop methodologies, which is a phrase that you would hear again and again if you watch Netflix series covering the Cat's Eye Survival Edition program, Popstar Academy. So HYBE confirmed to MBW earlier in July that this expansion was always meant as part of Bang Si-hyuk's conviction that the K-pop production model can be applied to other genres and geographies to sustain growth. Importantly, music business worldwide situates HYBE's India move in the context of its other global experience. And that is the U.S. debut of Cat's Eye with Geffen Records, which has already earned recognition, especially in the States, including MTV recognition. And notably, Cat's Eye includes Indian American member Lara Raj, which MBW highlights as a symbolic link between India and HYBE's global artist development. By the way, I love Lara. She's insanely talented. I mean, all the Cat's Eye members are, but she also produces, and she's got this great ambition as a musician and an artist. So I'm going to talk about her pretty soon, briefly. Also, the ongoing joint editions with Geffen Records for another girl group, building directly off the Dream Academy pipeline, and also HYBE Latin America's Medellin Music Lab, which recently auditioned over 400 talents, showing how the multi-home model is already being put into practice. So this was also a recent news worth noticing. And what MBW makes clear is that HYBE sees India as more than a regional market. That is, it's part of a global chess move to shift the balance of power away from the entrenched big three music companies. So if Bang Si-hyuk's prediction holds true, localized artist development pipelines like HYBE India could be the mechanism that disrupts decades of industry dominance. So it's a pretty exciting time, to witness whether this turns out to be the case. So as a shareholder, as a fan, I'll be looking forward to the developments. Okay. Now, Lara, her presence adds another layer because, like the article notes, she's Indian American, which makes her both a face for representation in the U.S. market and a cultural bridge for India. So with HYBE now opening a headquarters in Mumbai, Lara effectively becomes a living example of HYBE's global vision. Isn't just about exporting Korean talent; it's about integrating diverse identities into the K-pop framework. And for Indian fans, Indian K-pop fans, or just Indian fans in general, having someone with Indian heritage succeed through HYBE could create a sense of connection and aspiration. And we have seen this from other artists as well, especially, Sophia, another member of Cat's Eye. There were a lot of Filipino fans supporting her, both before debut through the voting process of the K-pop Popstar Academy or Dream Academy, and also when Cat's Eye traveled to the Philippines recently, they were met with huge support from the fans, local fans, offline. So that was also incredible. And for HYBE, this provides a narrative thread that we have already nurtured Indian origin talent on the world stage, and now we are coming directly to India to discover more voices like hers. And that symbolic continuity strengthens the business case for HYBE India potentially, while also giving HYBE a ready-made ambassador figure when entering the market. So yeah, in other words, Cat's Eye wasn't just a U.S. experiment. It was also, laying psychological and cultural groundwork for future expansions like this. And hence, their mission statement was what? Where voices of India become global stories. So that's how we can connect the dots. Now, the article, the NBW piece, mentioned the Madeline Music Lab. And there was an article about it on September 10th. So let's briefly talk about that. This deserves closer attention because it shows how far HYBE is willing to adapt the K-pop incubation model to local markets, and how that adaptation is already gaining traction in Latin America, which was the third region where they set up their headquarters. So first Japan, second US, third Latin America, fourth China, and fifth India, right? So this was launched in Colombia's cultural hub of Medellin. The program isn't just scouting singers, according to the article. It's designed as a music industry incubator, auditioning not only artists but also aspiring producers, composers, managers, marketers, and cultural operators. So between September 4th and September 7th of this year, over 400 applicants came forward. From there, 160 will move on to creative camps and then into a formal incubator phase for 10 to 15 projects later this year. That's pretty exciting. And the scale is pretty notable too. In its first year, the lab reportedly reached more than 6,000 young people and directly engaged around 3,000 with workshops, performances, and educational events across the city. And supporters, backers, include not just HYBE, but also the Medellin Mayor's Office, Colombia's Ministry of Youth and Ministry of Culture, and major corporate sponsors from Warner Chappell to Red Bull, plus J Balvin, a notable superstar, who contributed a recording studio. And that kind of coalition shows HYBE isn't just, testing the waters, but embedding itself pretty seriously into Madeleine's civic and cultural infrastructure, so to say. And it doesn't stop there. The lab sits alongside other Latin American plays, like the launch of how do I read this? Records, S1ENTO Records, which is a new regional Mexican music label led by Emmy-nominated executive Marina Perez, Dosima Music, which signed Mexican veteran Mem Del Real, and even a reality competition partnership with Telemundo. And taken together, these moves show HYBE building a layered ecosystem. Incubators, labels, competitions, rather than a single entry point. And to be honest, from a shareholder's perspective, this is exciting, but at the same time, it's pretty scary, given the scale and the speed by which they are moving. So let's just, fingers crossed that they got great people who can, work this out all together. Okay. Now, all of this unfolds against the booming backdrop, meaning Latin music revenues in the US hit a record $1.423 billion in 2024, and Mexico has climbed into the world's top 10 music markets. So by betting on Medellin, HYBE is planting roots in what many already see as the creative epicenter of Latin music's next wave. Now, alongside Medellin Music Lab, HYBE Latin America is also moving pretty quickly into the idol space. So, the newest project, Santos Bravos, we have heard a lot about this project lately, right? Is a boy group set to make its official debut when on October 21st, in less than a month, at Auditorio Nacional in Mexico City, which is one of Latin America's most iconic venues that has hosted artists, like global artists, such as from Luis Miguel and Juan Gabriel to Coldplay and Paul McCartney. And the group is being formed through a 12-episode reality series airing across YouTube, Spotify, and I'm pretty sure some of you have watched that, follow it closely. And episode 11 culminates in the debut concert, where the final lineup and first single will be unveiled. And the article noted that there were a lot of interest. Like the initial 5,000 free tickets sold out in just 4 hours without major promotion. And HYBE says that it will live stream the events globally on its official YouTube channel while considering additional seats. And the debut has been reinforced by the HYBE Experience exhibition in Mexico City, which has already drawn over 100,000 visitors eager to immerse themselves in the trainees' journey and purchase related merch. And local international press are treating Santos Bravos as a landmark. Like Billboard called it a boundary-breaking Latin pop experiment, while Mexico's El Universal described it as the most ambitious pop project ever developed in the country. So for HYBE, Santos Bravos is the second major Latin project under Bang Si-hyuk's multi-home, multi-genre strategy, right? Following the Paseo La Fama band edition program. So it illustrates how HYBE is methodically transplanting the K-pop production system abroad with training camps, serialized storytelling, and large-scale debuts and global live streaming designed to turn a local project into a global phenomenon. Once again, pretty exciting, but at the same time, just hoping that things could work out well, and producing synergy effects, great positive effects, both for HYBE and for the artists and the local region. You know what I'm saying? Now, so while India and Latin America highlight HYBE's public-facing experiments with training systems, reality shows, and large-scale debuts, the company's strategy in China looks a bit different. So rather than launching like splashy incubators or idle projects right away, HYBE is quietly strengthening its organizational backbone. So a recent job posting on HYBE's career site, like I mentioned briefly, it shows the company hiring for China Business Operations Support, which is a role focused on overseeing promotions across concerts, albums, broadcasting, film, drama, advertising, and variety shows. And the position emphasizes management of Chinese social channels like Weibo and Douyin, close coordination with HYBE China's local office, and detailed market research to track fan sentiment and cultural trends. So this indicates that HYBE is taking a much slower and compliance-driven approach in China, prioritizing infrastructure and localization and regulatory navigation before rolling out like higher-profile projects, and that makes sense, I think, given the nature of the Chinese market. So in contrast to the bold launches in India and Latin America, the China strategy is about laying careful groundwork, ensuring that when HYBE does scale up its artist activities there, the foundations are already firmly in place. So yeah, taken together, I think HYBE's moves in Latin America, China, and the United States shows just how aggressively the company is testing its multi-home, multi-genre strategy. Yet, the timing of the Indian launch feels particularly significant. Because with its massive population and booming streaming market and rising interest in K-pop, India could be the place where HYBE proves whether this model truly works outside Korea. But will HYBE India be able to balance the K-pop training system with India's own cultural identity? And can HYBE turn high streaming numbers into real revenue, and will Indian fans embrace locally trained idols as part of the global K-pop wave? And most importantly, could this be the moment that shifts the global music market away from the dominance of the quote-unquote big three and toward a more diversified future? So let me open up to you before I close. What do you think? Is India the market that could make or break Bang Si-hyuk's global vision, or will the real test come elsewhere? And how successful will they be in the India market? Let me know all your thoughts by writing comments in the comment section. And when you do so, stay positive, respectful, and classy. Thank you guys. Peace and love. Bye-bye.